For more on this, let's bring in former Queen's Park correspondent Keith Leslie. Keith, a lot of familiar faces in this cabinet. Is it usual when a government wins re-election to keep key ministers on key files, or did you expect more change?
Didn't expect a lot of change in this one, but I did expect one change. I thought, given all the problems in the healthcare system with, the hospital emergency departments closing, people being waited on hallway healthcare, as they call it, the shortage of family doctors, I would have thought it was time for a new Minister of Health. But as Alice Sweeney reported, he not only kept her as Minister of Health, he kept Sylvia Jones as a Deputy Premier as well. So that was a bit of a surprise. But otherwise, we expected after the election, which he campaigned completely on, being a stable government to take on Donald Trump, didn't expect many changes, and we didn't get them in the key portfolios, or most of the key portfolios.
He did shuffle the housing, education, and environment ministers. Why do you think he made changes on those files?
Well, the housing file in particular has been a disaster for them ever since the Greenbelt scandal, where they had to apologize and put those protected lands or those lands back into being protected in the Greenbelt. But ever since then, their signature program, which was to build more housing, to make housing and life more affordable, housing starts have gone down. Even this year, the first 2 months of this year, housing starts are down again. Ontario lags only behind New Brunswick in the number of housing starts it's doing. So for some reason, this government cannot build the housing it needs to build. And so I think that's where we're seeing a change of ministers there. We need a new housing minister to bring a new approach. The same thing with education. Paul Calandra is moving out of housing, but over to education. Now, he's seen generally as a fixer, a guy that keeps things smooth and cool. So either they're hoping to keep things cool with the teachers, or maybe they're planning some big changes that will upset the teachers. And so that's why Calandra got moved over to education.
Do you expect any big changes in policy or style from this latest edition of the Ford government?
Not really. I think this is very much a steady as she goes government. We're here to take on Trump. That's our primary role. It's Doug Ford's primary role. But again, we need to know where he's going to go with this $40 billion that he set aside to deal with the Trump tariffs. Will it be, direct checks to workers who are laid off, or will it be help for businesses, or will it be just tax breaks? We need to know what the government's going to do, and that's going to be a key priority for them, in addition to dealing with the housing issues and the cost of living issues.
With tariffs still top of mind, what does it say about Ford's relations with the federal Liberals that he personally invited Chrystia Freeland, someone he's known to have a good relationship with, and she came and was very supportive today?
Absolutely. I think this is one of Ford's strengths. He plays well with others, regardless of their political stripe. So we saw him, and this came out really evident during the pandemic, that the Ford PC government worked really well with the federal Liberal government, and that's where he developed this relationship with Chrystia Freeland. Apparently, since the Trump stuff has come along, he's gotten very close to Dominic LeBlanc as well, the federal minister. So he's gotten close with Olivia Chow, a former political nemesis, now the mayor of Toronto. So he does play well with others. Apparently, the only one we don't know what type of relationship, or he doesn't have much of a relationship with, is Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre.
All right, that's political analyst Keith Leslie. Keith, thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.